Alrighty, guys, we are back. It's your boy EQ. And up next, we have why DJ Akademiks is getting canceled for going against Drake. Shout out to Fantastic Hip Hop for the video. Drake has definitely been moving so fragrantly that even his biggest cheerleader in DJ Akademiks has had no choice but to call him out, because the hypocrisy couldn't be more evident. It's very difficult to justify a lawsuit taking aim at the very same system you allegedly benefited the most from over the course of your career. And the claims that you're accusing other people of have followed you throughout most of your career, from the bots to the preferential treatment from the DSPs. And now that you have fallen out of favor, honestly, at the hands of your own actions, you now want to cry foul and claim that you are truly the victim, and the culture can see right through that. Akademiks finally coming out and calling Labrie out furthers my belief that he has really grown to resent Drake. Because you would think Drake would show more love to the main person that has defended him throughout this beef, even though I do feel like the way he presents these narratives doesn't necessarily make Drake look any better. And honestly, we have tons of footage throughout the years of Akademiks proclaiming Kendrick to be the best rapper out there, even going as far as saying that all his albums were classic, only to do a complete 180 once this beef ensued, which is obviously for the check. But seeing the man that you love with every other shawty on stream has him ready to crash out. So enough dilly-dallying, let's jump right into the video where we have why DJ Akademiks is getting canceled for going against Drake. And Maul must be so geeked right now, like the side chick who's just seen the main girl fall out with the dude, and he's ready for that upgrade.
Now, in this time where Drake has done something that we have never seen in the course of hip-hop history, and everybody's been reacting to it, what's becoming more clear in this moment where Drake has done something absolutely unprecedented is that even when it comes to all of the stans and people who have strangely stayed loyal to him no matter what,
like I said, the only one that's really defending any of these actions is Maul.
Now even some of Drake's biggest cheerleaders are starting to hop off this wave of just supporting everything he does regardless of how embarrassing it really is. And at the center of this is none other than DJ Akademiks. And now after Ak has been leaning further and further into echoing Drake's delusions and trying to uplift his image at the expense of everything,
he really does
Drake
like
now
me.
Trying to take a rap beef to a place that it has never been with his most recent action. Ak seemingly had a choice to make, which was to support the weakest move we've ever seen in hip-hop history and lose whatever credibility he had left, or speak his mind on this genre-altering matter and possibly risk ruining the odd dynamic he had with Drake, while also in the
a very, very weird dynamic, even though I still think it is mutually beneficial because, Akademiks has been running the bag up because everyone is looking to see how he crashes out this time, how he tries to spin this narrative. And as for Drake, he has somebody that can get out news very, very quickly, even though, like I said earlier, the way it's presented doesn't necessarily make him look better.
Process making his fans, who are also Drake stans, livid that he is hopping off the Drake bandwagon. And now when it came to Ak making a decision, what he actually did has shocked a lot of people, including myself, as for the first time ever when the stakes have been this high, Ak spoke out about Drake and called him out for this ridiculous move he is trying to pull, but as Ak has now went against the guy and his fan base who has been supporting him more than any other group of people in rap.
The thing is, if you're in media, if you proclaim yourself to be some type of journalist, you're going to have some type of credibility. And that means no matter how much bias you may have, you have to call it how you see it. And this move really honestly couldn't be justified.
Rap has. When it comes to his career, things are starting to look almost as terrible for him as they are for Drake. Because after already being rejected from the rest of hip-hop, Ak is now being kicked out from the center of Team Drake. And now before we get any further into this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And so now with this move from DJ Akademiks, it really seems like after the recent controversy where Drake made him lie, both of them got caught for doing so, and then Ak embarrassed himself and Drake even more by then trying to expose LeBron James, but then only ending up making Drake look worse than ever as a whole. Ak realized with one of the weirdest situations he has ever been in, that maybe he's going a little too far with this whole Drake thing, and that he should not be trying to defend another man's image as much as he is doing so, because with Ak's most recent stream where he went through this entire Drake lawsuit, he had some rare words for Drake that were critical, and in this time where Drake fans and OVO are all trying to push the same narratives to support and defend their guy in this chapter where he has done the weakest things and people are only turning on him more by the second, Ak went against what OVO was trying to do to help Drake by calling the suit ridiculous, and then he was so embarrassed by what he was reading and seemingly the fact that he has been defending this guy so hard.
Of course, how can you keep defending a person that's doing some of the most hypocritical things imaginable? You trying to make yourself some type of martyr, some type of victim, honestly looks crazy.
that he just started laughing about some of the ridiculous reaches the suit was trying to make about what Not Like Us was trying to portray about Drake in the first place. And the best part about this is that Drake fans were yelling at Ak and telling him to stop laughing, as they have been trying to push to everyone, including Ak, that they all need to be unified and defending Drake for everything in order to win against hip-hop and the industry and protect Drake's image. And again, just putting this entire fan base and community in place. Ak stopped this ridiculous way of thinking and acting, which is now making the entire OVO community have no sort of nuance or originality.
Yeah, man, Akademiks has had enough.
In their opinion. And does Ak continue to speak out against Drake? He went on to say that he isn't the one who is making Drake look bad at this point, because Drake fans who can't take any sort of accountability of reality think that Ak is the one making him look bad by speaking out against him and not Drake's own actions. And in a rare moment where Ak isn't doing everything to help Drake, he went on a whole tangent where he explained that he's done nothing to make Drake's image look worse, but it is the documents he is reading and the principle.
At the end of the day, that is the end all be all. He's just literally reading the stuff that's being reported about Drake. And if it sounds crazy, it's because it is crazy. A lot of the things Drake is claiming just make him out to be a supreme sore loser. Probably the biggest sore loser I've ever seen.
Well, this is all setting on rap music as a whole. And the fact that now Ak is saying this and even recognizing that all of this is bad for hip-hop is just...
And the thing is, I also think that Akademiks been knew all this stuff looked crazy, but at the end of the day, he was trying to keep whatever relationship he had with Drake. Obviously, I don't think it was that much of a relationship. I think other than a DM here and there, it really wasn't anything other than them using each other. Because you would also think Drake would have actually met this guy in real life after how hard Akademiks has been riding for him. But like I said, there's a time in every side chick's life where enough is enough.
Saying so much and continuing on this tangent that may just cost Ak his career. He got so fed up with how embarrassing Drake has been as a whole that he just straight up said he needs to stop putting himself...
Fantastic Hip Hop is a real doomsday type of guy. You're either the most successful or you're done.
In the public eye, and he needs to spend some time away from the limelight, and in addition, he needs to stop all the cringy antics and mirror selfies and needs to start presenting himself within a way that is actually respectable. And again, for Ak, who has been through so much for Drake, now stepping against him and just calling everything out for what it is, which of course with the reality...
Drake really doesn't act like an OG. He doesn't really give off that vibe now that I'm thinking about it.
We are all seeing is just absolutely ridiculous. Now that Ak has stepped out of his role, the OVO community is done with him, and they feel so betrayed and angry towards the guy who has been leading the effort to protect Drake's public image all before this. And I mean, really, before we go any further into what this actually all means for Ak, the fact that Drake's fans and the people around him have reached a point where there is no room for discussion or to even hear someone's opinion out about how Drake is doing something wrong.
Well, at that point, you're just in an echo chamber, and you're probably not going to solve anything handling it like that.
I mean, in of itself, this explains why Drake's career is in the place it is in the first place, and why his downfall keeps getting worse, because clearly no one is trying to offer him any other ideas that may actually help him, and they are just echoing whatever sentiments he...
It could also be possible that people are in his ears giving him good advice, but it's on him to actually listen to that advice and take it. Because most of these L moves can be clearly forecasted of going down horribly, and it's really tough to think that no one else can see the same thing.
Wants to push across, even if they are wrong or embarrassing to hip-hop culture as a whole, like with this entire situation Drake has created here. And with the fact that now DJ Akademiks, who has been clearly biased towards Drake, is at a point where he himself can no longer even stand with how out of touch Drake, OVO, and their entire community is, it's just very telling of how Drake is spiraling, because for someone who has had the reputation and loyalty of Ak to now get off board and speak the way he did against him, it really should be the only sign you need to start rethinking your strategy. But now, while all of this is signaling that Drake has reached a point where he is done, for DJ Akademiks, this situation is really putting himself within a bad place.
Well, the thing is, Akademiks still wants to have a career. Right now, Drake is really trying to go on his kamikaze era run and try to get the last bag before he rides off into the sunset. But I don't think Akademiks is thinking that way.
Because due to the choices Ak made in 2024 all the way up to this point, which has involved him supporting Drake and being the voice for whatever narratives he wanted to push across. As we have talked about before, Ak has tied his success
all those posts for Kendrick Lamar to drop an onslaught of records that obviously demolished Drake
and his fan base to Drake's closer than really anybody else has. And as the Drake community as a whole has lost any sense of nuance, Ak can't think differently from the rest of them, and this is why Drake stands all over are livid at him and seemingly rejecting whatever he has to say going forward. And now with Ak and Drake specifically, as Ak speaking out against Drake is coming off another bad moment between the two where Ak's top song of the year was Not Like Us, and he clearly didn't want Drake or any of his fans to know this. Ak now showing once again.
When he was going through his Spotify rap, he actually said, he didn't want to show the top records on there. And to me, that was all the evidence I needed that it was more than likely a Kendrick record. And the face and gasp that he let out when he accidentally scrolled all the way to the top was classic. But even with all the glazing he's been doing for Drake, I really do feel that Akademiks is a huge Kendrick Lamar fan.
Again, that he's not as loyal to Drake and OVO as they all thought he was is changing the dynamics on some way of how his entire corner of the hip-hop world is being represented. And in this OVO echo chamber where Drake fans are looking for someone to just support his delusion and the all-time low moments that we are witnessing right now. Because of these building moments where Ak has went against Drake, they have now kicked him out of their community and have appointed OVO Mal as the leader of Team Drake and hip-hop media going forward. And the fact that they are treating someone who really is more biased and emotional than even Ak and Mal.
Of course, I mean, even his own co-hosts look at him crazy. Sometimes they just look at him baffled after he goes off on one of his rants about how right Drake is moving.
As this heroic figure who is standing up for what needs to be said and who is way stronger than Ak ever was. I mean, this is just the most pathetic thing, and moments like these really show you how bad a fan base and community around an artist is doing in times like these, because as the fact that this is where we're at, where for Drake, Ak has hopped off supporting him at any chance he can get, and now they are letting someone like Mal, who has literally embarrassed himself time after time every single moment he is near a mic, as whether it's from when he said The Heart Part 6 is going to age and become one of the best diss records of all time, which we all saw where that went, or when his co-host Rory was trying to get him to admit that Drake does look bad for doing this. And Mal didn't just not say anything against Drake, but he actually supported him and thinks this is a noble and heroic move that a rapper can make. Mal is...
I will say this, when they were speaking on that topic, he did admit that Kendrick Lamar would have the same claim as Drake if he wanted to sue as well. So I'll give him that, but the way he was trying to make Drake out to be some type of a Robin Hood is obviously erroneous.
Really another person who, just like Drake, has lost everything in this time where the stakes have never been higher, and if this is who they want to lead the OVO community, I mean, somehow in comparison, this makes having DJ Akademiks as your top guy look like an amazing choice in comparison.
Diplomatic.
And so really at this point, where Drake's downfall is having so many other repercussions and effects, and now guys like DJ Akademiks are at a crossroads because he may have to do a complete rebrand if OVO turns against him, because in this time where no other hip-hop fans actually support.
Akademiks has been a pariah, honestly, for the last decade and a half, so I don't really think much has changed there. He ran up a huge bag. I think he'll be fine, but obviously the way he's handled his beef has made him look even crazier.
Support this guy, because Ak has not just lost all of his credibility being biased towards Drake, but with half the stuff he actually covers and with how he speaks about hip-hop as a whole, he really doesn't even like rap music like the rest of us. It's really going to be telling to see where Akademiks and Drake go.
Now, you can't say that. His whole Spotify rap was rap music. I will say this, he'd probably prefer to interview Vybz Kartel, but other than that, I really do think he does love rap. He just has had some very, very bad talking points.
From here, because while the OVO community is done with Ak for now as they are against him, having Mal try to make this effort from Drake look any better than it is will just not work whatsoever. And despite the fact that Drake and Ak clearly do have some hidden beef after all the moves they have made that have made one another look worse, this partnership they have had works for both of them, because Ak does help Drake's ideas circulate through the hip-hop world in a way that has been making some people on that side of things look at him a little different, and Drake does know this, as he wouldn't have continued to use him to support and project his ideas for so long if this wasn't true. So really going forward, while OVO is trying to kick Ak out, and if things get worse after Ak called out Drake, this may just end up becoming a reality, and Ak will have to rethink his entire career and approach. Going forward, it will be interesting.
I don't think so. He'll just continue to go on covering this stuff. He'll be fine. For all the vulgar and honestly very nasty things Akademiks has said, he still manages to stay around. It's almost like a cockroach after a nuclear blast.
To see if Drake talks to Ak about where he is at in this time, where he made the weakest move in the genre's history, and if Ak will change his mind and then try to start supporting Drake like he always does, but really as it stands. All it seems like we are going to see is Ak just continue to hold his ground against the most ridiculous and out-of-touch version we have ever seen of Drake, and if this is the case, then for both Drake and Ak, their careers in every sense of the word are about to change drastically, because Drake isn't just going to lose the last piece he had on the board in hip-hop in terms of having somebody who can actually make noise for him, but Ak is also going to lose the only people who are still remaining as fans for him as a whole. And really for Ak, is he is just so far gone from the rest of hip-hop culture that it's really too late for him to change his ways. If he is no longer going to support every one of Drake's actions, then who knows where his career is going to end up, because while people will still hear and listen to what Ak says for a while, in this era where fan bases drive everything, without any sort of actual group supporting him, with Team Drake and OVO
This guy's forgetting that Akademiks is probably one of the bigger streamers in the country. He's gonna be fine, guys. Obviously, he's making peace with the fact that this relationship isn't gonna be what he thought it was gonna be, where he was gonna get these streams and these interviews, maybe have something a little more personal, pause, but he'll be fine. Obviously, to me, I think Drake is the one facing the more dire situation.
No longer by his side. Ak is really finally about to learn why he should have
Ak
never
never really
supported
had people
Drake
in his
so
corner
much to
like
the
that.
point where he tied the entire success of his career to his. And so now with all of this said, let me know. What do you think of DJ Akademiks speaking out against Drake, where Drake and Ak stand as a whole?
Yeah, well, obviously, like I said earlier, you can only cope for so long. There's a lot of things you can probably find a way to spin and justify, but him suing over a rap beef is obviously not one of them. I've already been feeling, honestly, for a while that Akademiks did feel some sort of way about Drake. It almost seems like Drake is going out of his way to do every other streamer's stream but Akademiks, the one guy who is probably batted for him the most. Akademiks is seeing the same things we are, guys, so I definitely wouldn't fault him for that. And even if he does lose the relationship with Drake, no matter how small or insignificant it was, I think he'll be fine. The guy has been a pariah in hip hop forever, but I do definitely think that the way he handled the beef definitely zapped most of the credibility he had. Who knows if he's able to ever regain that, because the internet is forever. All these clips are forever, unless he comes out and says he was just doing it for the bag. But then again, you're losing your integrity by saying something like that. And Drake is obviously very, very petty, guys. So maybe it was only so far he was willing to take any type of friendship. Like I said, there is a bunch of footage of Akademiks of saying how much he loves Kendrick Lamar's music, that all his albums were classic, and in terms of how close people were in ability, that the field was very, very distant. And Drake seems like the type of guy to Google himself to see if anyone is talking ish about him. But definitely let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that DJ Akademiks is actually getting canceled for going against Drake? To me, he's kind of been a pariah basically his whole career since the start, since the days of his War on Chirac series. So honestly, I don't really think it's changing too much, other than the fact that his credibility is in the toilet. But his fan base honestly loves him. His chat dudes show up every stream, with them even complaining if he's ever late by 5 or 10 minutes. So as far as his career, I think honestly he'll be fine. But definitely let me know what you guys think. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button, guys. It does the channel wonders. I want to thank you guys so much for watching the channel. You guys are freaking amazing. The growth has been exponential, and honestly, it's all thanks to you guys. So I really want to let you guys know how grateful I am for all the love and support you guys show the channel on a daily. It honestly is overwhelming, and it's probably the biggest reason why I make these videos. So I'm definitely looking forward to what you guys have to say on this topic. I hope you guys love this video, and I hope to see you guys soon. Maul gotta be so geeked that he's been upgraded.